Hey everyone, welcome back to Open. Our last guest is bringing the banda everywhere he goes, working as a cultural ambassador, and he's a teaching artist. He has taught in areas of hip hop, music production, spoken word, and theater. He's visited 34 countries through organizations such as City Lore, BAM, Piano Slam, Arts Horizons, and Banda, in which he's shared this stage with the likes of artists such as multi Grammy winner Arturo O'Farrell, KRS-One, Lester Bowie, Outkast, Media, and Medusa. And bueno, he's here to share more. He is the one and only curator, educator, hip hop artist, and artistic director. Let's give it up for Baba Israel.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that introduction. This is feeling like a good Friday already. Thank you for that
Yay!
energy. I needed that boost in this morning. Thank you.
That's one of the things I appreciate that you and I share consciously every single time we are in the same space. I mean, we're not together in person, but we're in the same space, and it never fails. So thank you for that, Baba.
My pleasure. My pleasure. It's good to be here with you. This is a conversation long time coming, and I'm excited about it.
Me too, me too. Baba, we met very many years ago, and we've shared space, as I said already, through various stages, different environments, different circumstances. And the one thing about you is that you just always bring it. You just bring it in your own unique fashion. I identify you as one of my geniuses of associates. I mean, just the way you operate, your political statements, your talent. I mean, I'm just ready to dive into it all. But first, let's start from. I mean, we don't have all the time in the world, but I want to give everybody a little taste of how it all started for you.
Well, I mean, it really starts with my family. My parents were both artists. I grew up in the Living Theater, which was a revolutionary and radical theater company founded by Judith Molina and Julian Beck. And my father joined in the 60s. He was a jazz musician, a stand up comic. And my mother was a filmmaker and an artist and joined the theater as well. So I had no choice, really. You know what I mean? I grew up, in the arts, going to jazz, going to see theater. The New Eurekan Poetry Cafe was a really early important space for me. It was a place that was very important to my father as well. So those are some of the early roots for me, you know what I mean? But I was also in a political theater company at 11 years old, doing political street theater in parks. So we got started early, and then hip hop. Hip hop was the other big change for me. As a kid growing up in the 80s, going to see my first show in 85, we're celebrating 50 years of hip hop, this
That's
incredible
right.
culture from the BX.
That's
So
right.
those are some of the ingredients in my recipe book.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that because you hop around a lot, right? And so you're not really recognized as just one because you also work on the backside of it too, right?
Absolutely.
So but they all feed each other. So I mean, I'm gonna ask you this question, and I'm okay if you don't want to answer, but I want to know which one's your favorite.
Which one's my favorite? Wow.
Yeah.
I have to say, all the different things that I do, I think my favorite is working directly with people, like as a teaching artist or a facilitator or a director. My favorite is collaboration. My
Right.
favorite is also when I'm on stage and I invite a 8-year-old on stage with me. And this 8-year-old is all of a sudden feeling a little bit nervous. And then we take a breath together. And next thing you know, they're beatboxing and they're expressing themselves and they're dancing. So I just like opening up space, for people to create and to rediscover who they are, because we are all creative people once all the nonsense fades away.
And so, wow, that was so well said. And I could just visualize myself being that 11-year-old in your care. And I mean that, in the most endearing manner because you're just that mindful. And that's something that I think we need a lot more of in approach in everything that's happening in the world. And the fact that we're able to connect on that level, and you're able to bounce around, right, and go from let's say performing with Bronx Banda to doing your own performance projects to doing an EP to working with the community to curating an event. It becomes a question of like, well, really, what are you really doing, right? And the while yes, you are creating, there's a sprinkle of love that you're just pollinating everywhere you go.
Absolutely. And I was part of a really beautiful project this summer called Spread Love, you know what I mean? And it was we're celebrating the Bronx because we're representing right now, but we love all the boroughs of New York. And this was a project that was based in Brooklyn. Among the many things I do, I'm the artistic director of the Performance Project based at the University Settlement, which has been around in the Lower East Side from, since the 1800s. It's an incredible social service organization. And I run the arts program there, and I bring artists to weave in through those community projects. And we've been collaborating with Brick, and we did this project called Spread Love, and we produced a beautiful music video around that. Intergenerational. We have grandmothers rapping, fathers and sons rapping, mothers rapping, people doing poetry, singing. So I'm really interested in intergenerational connection, and I'm also interested as I get older as an artist. It's my responsibility to be a mentor, and I want to give a big shout out to Nija Mentor, actually speaking that, who is the director of this video. Shout out to Grace Galu, who worked on the music with me, and yeah, just a big shout out to everyone who was part of that project.
Well, you're really proud of this project. So what exactly did this project entail, right? Were you the facilitator that developed these individuals into being able to rap hip hop? Tell me your involvement in the entire
Yeah. I
process.
mean, yeah, I mean, one thing with this was really a project that grew out of a collaboration between the Performance Project and Brick around creating a new kind of community arts council, right? Having particularly working with public housing residents, to really celebrate, that's a very vital part of our community that's too often not recognized. And so we created this council. We recruited folks. We've been building it for 5 years. And this council has been curating events and making decisions around artist in residency spots and, curating and programming artistic choices. But they also were like, look, we have a voice too. We want to put our voice out there. And so myself and Grace Galu, we did workshops to identify places, people, movements that were important. Then they created their own lyrics. We got in the studio. We made this music video. I produced the music for it, and it was really a chance to celebrate this intergenerational connection and to really lift up in a time of a lot of conflict and uncertainty. We have to spread love more than ever right now, and that's just
I
yeah.
Oh gosh, I agree. I agree, and I just love how you just threw it. Oh, and I produced the music, right? We left that out of the conversation.
But another link too I wanted to shout out, is that you look for different opportunities and how things can cross pollinate. So, in the video, there's a little segment that I'm hoping to share. There's a father named Squala, and his son is called Barboy, Hetep Barboy, and he's been rapping since he's 2 years old, and we've been working with him since he's 2 years old. And
And how old is he now?
and he's 8 now, and he
Wow.
got to rock on Sedgwick Avenue at the big Bronx, the block party in the Bronx recently, and tore it down in front of thousands of people. And they're also going to be performing at an event that I'm curating at the Perlman Arts Center, which is a major new art center, opening down by the World Trade Center, a really beautiful new space. And we're doing there's an open house there on September 30th, and they're going to be rocking there right in the middle of a kids breakdancing battle. Shout out to Kid Glide and shout out to Kids Breaking League. And this is going to be a beautiful event. Quick Step and Rockefeller from Full Circle are going to be there. The Brooklyn Youth Chorus, Brooklyn United, another band from the Bronx, Music with a Message. Shout out to Renaissance Youth Center. It's going to be a beautiful day. Tap dance. There's going to be stilt bands. There's going to be puppets. It's 10 to 4. It's free all day. And this father and son duo are going to be bringing the energy along with 60 breakdancers, 7 to 14-year-olds. It's going to be a beautiful day. My band Soul Inscribed is closing out the day. Brooklyn Raga Massive doing classical Indian music. It's just going to be an incredible day of creativity. I hope people bring their families down from wherever you are in New York City. Come and enjoy this day with us.
Just to be with you, just to share space with you. They'll feel the love. I mean, just in the way you presented all the details of the event, I'm like, I want to be there. I definitely want to be
Please
there.
do.
Because you can tell that it's going to be everything that you just said.
Absolutely.
Of course, fused with love, all of it.
Absolutely.
And before we even wrap up this segment, I do want to share with our viewers how fierce you are when it comes to freestyling. And I mean that. I mean that in the utmost way. And because that is not a talent that anyone can do. It's a skill that you develop, and it really requires a certain level of focus, and also a certain level of focus, clever, and repetition, right? Because
Absolutely.
you have to be good at it. You have to be able. You have to have been doing it a while to be able to put it right on the spot, right? And so, I know that you like to play around with just picking words and then implementing them into your lyrics, right? And I know we're gonna take a break and you're gonna perform for us. So, I wanted to know what you're gonna be doing for us after the break, and I'd also like to know if I can contribute.
Absolutely. I mean, I love to be in the moment, and the oral tradition, right? For human history, 95% of our human history, there was no writing. You know what I mean? And if you go to the tradition in West Africa, you go to the epic poems of Greece, you go to the Sufi poetry, people were improvising. They were freestyling for generations, for eons. And so yeah, and I like to make it interactive. So, I'd like to infuse your energy in this freestyle. So I'd love for you to give me 3, 4 words that can spark where I'm going, because I'm just going to take a breath, bring what my energy and my experience is, but then combine with your inspiration.
So here's the thing, right? Love seems to be the main topic of discussion.
Yep.
Um, Unity or community, you can do them
Yep.
both. Unity or community. Consciousness is the other one, and healing, healing.
Mm, beautiful. So we have community, unity, healing, consciousness, and love.
Is that?
Beautiful. That works for me. That's a good way to start a Friday morning.
Oh my gosh, tell me about it. I can't wait. And you guys are going to have to wait because we're going to take a break. And that was Baba Israel talking everything love. And guess what? He's going to present it in a beatbox and freestyle form. So don't go anywhere because after the break, he's going to perform a nice freestyle beatbox for us that you don't want to miss.